Feast for one day and fast the next. That's the simple concept behind alternate day fasting. It sounds simple enough, right? Amazingly enough, the health and weight loss benefits of this type of eating are pretty significant. So in this video, we're going to share with you our experiences with alternate day fasting.
So the guinea pig is back. We just put Keith through 2 weeks of alternate day fasting. I actually joined you the second week.
The easy week.
Yeah, because it was the easy week. So the reason we did 2 weeks is because there's basically two different ways to do alternate day fasting. The one we're basing mostly on a study that came out in Cell Metabolism, which is a complete fast. The only thing you're taking in is non-caloric drinks on your fasting day. Your feasting day, you eat whatever you want. The other form of alternate day fasting is more accurately called modified alternate day fasting. This is mostly from the work of Dr. Krista Verity. She had written a book, Every Other Day Diet. On your fasting day, you're actually allowed like 25% of your normal caloric intake, and they usually just estimate that to be around 500 calories. And then on feasting day, you can eat whatever you want.
Right, ad libitum.
Ad libitum, yep.
So that's kind of that'll be the kind of the catchword as we get into this.
That can be your catchphrase.
That's my catchphrase.
All right.
Yeah.
We will talk about our experiences doing this, but before we do that, let's just really quickly go into some of the research behind it and why it has really intrigued us as far as being beneficial. The first has to do with just a natural caloric restriction.
Right. So you're eating whatever you want basically on one day, and you're not eating anything the next. So you would almost think that you could have double what you normally eat on those eating days, right?
You would think you would be inclined to do that.
Right. That's not the way it works. So over a week's period of time, you get a natural reduction in calories because you're not eating 200% of your calories on your feasting day and then 0%.
Right. Right. And that's actually based on what the research tells us, because you would think, well, if I'm going to be able to eat whatever I want, I'm going to go crazy. These were just normal people from the public. They weren't like seasoned keto dieters, right? So they would be you would think that they would be even more inclined to eat like that. But what the research found was that they did not do that at all. And in fact, I think Dr. Verity's research, a lot of times, like she had mentioned, on their feasting days, they would only eat like 110% of their maintenance calories or something. It was really not a significantly like go crazy amount. So over the course of a week, then you naturally have a lower calorie intake, and that could have contributed to some of the weight loss.
Right. Some of the other benefits that come along with this, we know that restricted calorie diets, especially longer term, or fasting for more than a few days at a time, can actually cause a dip in metabolism. So they didn't see that at all with this study. Metabolism actually stayed where it was, and it's because you're eating one day, you're not eating the next, you're eating one day, so your body never gets that kind of thought that I need to slow things down because we're not going to have anything coming in.
Yeah. So and that was some other benefits that they pointed out were not only did they have a good weight loss, and a lot of that was trunk fat, so that visceral fat, that really dangerous fat, but they also had improvements in cardiovascular markers and preservation of muscle mass, which is of course very important and something that they find can really be whittled away when you're on a very low calorie diet for a long period of time. So we were very intrigued.
We were.
Yes, and so I came up with the idea to put him on an alternate day fast. And no, I think actually it was your idea.
I think it was my idea.
Yeah, let's go with that. And so Keith did 2 weeks. I chickened out, but I came strong on the second week when we did the modified alternate.
The easy week.
Right.
Yeah.
So the first week you did every other day fasting, and it was a complete fast. And we based this off of how the Cell Metabolism study had set theirs up. So actually you fasted for 36 hours, and then you were able to eat whatever you wanted for 12 hours, and you did that throughout the week.
Right. So I started on a Tuesday. I was allowed to have black coffee, unsweetened tea, water, anything non-caloric. So no cream in my coffee that day, which that's a rough start. But that first Tuesday, that wasn't too bad. I got through that okay. Wednesday
You were
was
very busy all day too. That helps.
Being busy does help. The kind of the feasting day on Wednesday went normal. I think I decided to have breakfast that day. Thursday was another fasting day, and that was okay. And again, I'm busy at the office on Thursdays, so that went okay. Friday we were able to eat again. Saturday was the third complete fasting day for me that week, and by that time it was kind of starting to suck.
Yeah, and it did for me as well.
Yeah,
because you were a little grumpy.
I was a little bit pissy.
Yeah.
We actually went to a birthday party where they had catered by Mission Barbecue, so we got there in the evening. I hadn't had anything all day, and they're like these pans of meat. And I think it was just just salivating like crazy. So I just decided I was going to bail, and I decided to do an OMED day that day, kind of put my own little spin on the research. But it was, for me, that third day of really strict no calories, that was a little hard.
Yeah. And that's very interesting because you are you can plow through this stuff. It's amazing to watch you do these things. You did a 10-day fast. But the cell metabolism study, yes, it was not a good outcome. The cell metabolism study that this was based off of, I will admit, it was a confusing study to read through, and it was a confusing design. But one of the things that they stated in there, which we found a little hard to believe, was that they had a tremendous amount of people staying in the study. Their dropout rate was, honestly, I'm thinking there was 3 people that dropped out of the study the whole time.
The compliance was high.
And these are general public people that are being put into this study where they are being told to not eat every other day, period. And they didn't drop out of the study. And you caved into Mission Barbecue. So
I think that word ad libitum comes into play here because this is where I think the difference is. So when it said to eat ad libitum, I mean, I didn't go crazy with any high carb foods or anything. I pretty much stuck to what I normally eat. I just may have had a little bit more. Instead of having 2 meals a day, I had 3 meals, but I was still eating, eggs and bacon and meat and cheese and whatever, we normally eat. I don't think that was the case with these folks. Right. I mean, they could have been getting an extra burger at McDonald's. Who knows?
Yeah, they could have. And eating late at night, maybe, or in that 12 hours. I don't know.
So their 12-hour feeding, they could have been getting, much more, those types of foods that are mentally, I think, satisfying. Yeah. I think mentally was the problem.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the interesting thing is, in all of the research we looked at, they never really concretely told us what these people were eating on their fasting, on their feasting days, and I don't even remember coming across caloric intake on those days. So we were really in the dark as far as that was concerned. But let's go on to week number 2 then, with when we did the modified alternate day fasting. And what we did was we allowed ourselves 500 calories each. We didn't. It was you were the same as me, right, on our fasting days, and then we could eat whatever we wanted on the feasting days. So let me just start with my experience. Yep. So we did started on a Tuesday, and I had some appointments that day, and so for my 500 calories, I decided I was going to have a salad, and then something else in the day, like either just a fatty piece of meat or bacon or some nuts or something like that.
Right, and your salads are pretty substantial. They've got a decent amount of fat and protein in them.
Yeah, very, and a lot of volume, very satisfying. So I decided to have that around, I think it was 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I was a little worried about making it through the rest of the evening because that's a long stretch. But I did just fine with that. Now on Thursday, I was very busy during the day. And so I was able to push off eating my salad until it was probably pushing 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And that was actually a really interesting learning experience for me. I did kind of, I don't know that I would want to do it all the time, but I did learn quite a bit from it. If not one thing, that it kind of gave me a new perspective on how I handle hunger. Hunger, definitely kind of ebbs and flows throughout the day. It would peak up a little bit around 10:30 or something, but if I just kind of ignored it and let it go, I'd be fine for hours after that. So.
Right. And then we finished on Saturday. And
yeah,
it was,
what did we do? We were busy on Saturday.
I think we had to go grocery shopping when I got home from the office, and then I had work to do as far as I had another home project going on. So
yeah, and we made it through, and I think part of the thing for me there too was that I was going to be done the next day. And I should add that it was very hard to eat ad libitum on the, eat whatever I wanted on the feasting days, because I'm just not used to doing that, and I really didn't want that sensation of being blah or full. We definitely stayed low carb.
Right. My experience that week, again, Tuesday, I play hockey in the evening, so typically I'm only eating, I usually have lunch and something in mid-afternoon because I don't like to eat before I go play. So that's usually kind of a lower calorie day for me anyway, and I do that calorie cycling. We've talked about that. Mm-hmm. So I didn't see this 500 calorie thing as being a big issue for me, and it wasn't. So I decided I was going to do a keto coffee as kind of my main thing of my 500 calories, and then a couple of beef sticks that we get from Costco, and that kind of put me to, I think, 520 calories. Yeah, again, no real problems with that. Having it on Tuesday and Thursday, which are my busy days, obviously helped me a lot too. And Saturday, again, being busy, up and down the stairs about 50 times, I think.
Right, doing some trim work.
Yeah, that definitely helps. But overall, I mean, I found it to be the modified thing obviously much easier to do, much easier. And I think that I would recommend that to anybody. I think it's easily doable. You still get that reduction of calories, maybe not quite as significant as not eating anything, but it's still a reduction in calories. And if somebody wanted to do this, you could start with a couple days of doing the real strict no calorie. But I think when it starts to get hard, I think there's no problem moving into that modified kind of arena.
Yeah. So I would say that we both had a fairly positive experience with the modified alternate day fast. So if you are looking to change things up a little bit and try something new, kind of throw your body a curveball, always a good idea, right? You might want to check that out. Modified alternate day fasting. Allow yourself about 500 calories on a fasting day, and then eat just a little bit more on your feasting day, and give it a shot. Let us know if you've ever tried alternate day fasting. Let us know in the comments, and if you try it, come back to our comments, and we'd love to hear about your experience. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Love having you guys with us, and we will see you next week.
Next week.